Hello and welcome, my dear student, to today's lesson, which is going to be about listen and discuss. This is a new unit, which is Unit 3, Laugh Out Loud. Today, inshallah, we have a new skill, which is listening. Let's start by seeing objectives of today's lesson. Inshallah, we are going to name a comedy show. Recall a comedy show. 3. Answer questions about the text. 4. Act out a joke. 5. Write a joke about two people. And finally, inshallah, we will write sentences using a new vocabulary. Okay, so inshallah, in this lesson, mainly we are going to listen and we are going to try to write a little bit about sentences. Okay, so are you ready, guys? Let's go. Now, we will start by seeing these 3 questions. I will read these questions and try to answer these 3 questions, please. Number 1, what TV show or comedian makes you laugh the most and why? Okay, give me a TV show or a comedian makes you laugh. Number 2, what is the funniest joke you know? The funniest. Number 3, what do you think makes a joke funny? Now, if you go through all these 3 questions and you can answer them by seeing some shows or TV shows or the comedian, as I said here. For example, I like the actor, okay, Jim Carrey, for example. He makes me laugh all the time in his movies, okay. And sometimes in some TV shows, okay, they start to like stand-up comedy, for example, okay. So they like to give us shows and try to make us laugh. Number 2, what is the funniest joke you know? It depends, because in some cultures, okay, it differs. When you say something about jokes, okay, for example, in English, it's different in Arabic, and vice versa, of course, okay? So sometimes you need to know what is the funniest joke up to you. Number 3, what do you think makes a joke funny? Is it humor? Is it the person or personality, for example, or smiling or laughing or something like that? It depends on several categories and criteria of the same one. Okay, very good. Now, inshallah, today you will listen to an audio script, okay, for twice. Okay, the first one is going to be blind. You won't see the text, you won't see the paragraphs, only listen. Okay, practice listening. Then inshallah, at the second one, you will see the rest, I mean the paragraphs. Okay, so in the first one, just close your books, okay, just listen, to practice listening, and this actually will help you how you can pronounce something, or even something you don't know, or even something you don't know about the joke itself. Okay, so the audio script mainly here will be talking about jokes. Okay, we'll talk about jokes. So are you ready? Very good, let's start now. Just listen, please, guys.
Unit 3, Laugh Out Loud. Pages 34 and 35. 1. Listen and discuss.
A family of mice were being chased by a cat. The scared mice were cornered when the father mouse turned around and barked, "Ruff, ruff, ruff." The surprised cat ran away. When one of the young mice said, "Nice going, Dad," the father mouse replied, "You see, son, it pays to be bilingual."
A student with a parrot on his shoulder leaves a lecture theater. Another student follows him. He stops him and says, "I'm sorry to bother you, but I have to say, I was astonished by your parrot's remarkable reaction to the lecture on ancient history. He seemed frightened at the frightening parts, sad at the depressing parts, fascinated at the interesting parts, and amused at the funny parts. I could have sworn I even heard it laugh. I have to say, I was amazed. Don't you find it surprising?" "Yes," he replies. I was very surprised. He hated the class.
A truck driver is driving a truckload of penguins to the zoo in the next town when his truck breaks down. While he's working on the truck, another truck driver stops and asks if he needs help. The first truck driver says, "If I gave you $100, would you take these penguins to the zoo?" The second trucker agrees to do it. Hours later, the truck driver is still trying to fix his truck when the second truck driver drives past with all of the penguins still in his truck. The puzzled first truck driver says, "Didn't you take them to the zoo?" The second truck driver says, "Yes, we went to the zoo, and there was money left over. So now we're going to a restaurant."
A grasshopper, a snail, and a centipede are relaxing in the grasshopper's house when they realize that they are getting hungry. They decide that one of them should go out for a pizza. The snail says, "I'd go, but I'm kind of slow." The grasshopper says, "I don't mind going, but my hopping will shake the pizza and mess it up." So they decide to send the centipede. The snail and grasshopper wait and wait. The longer they wait, the hungrier they get. Finally, when an hour passes and the centipede still hasn't returned, the irritated snail and grasshopper decide to go look for him. They get as far as the front door, where they find the centipede sitting there putting on his shoes.
Okay, now as you listened, I want you to take a quick look at this picture. Can you analyze or define what kind of animals are these? Look at the pictures. Okay? What kind of animals do you have in this picture, for example? We have a cat and a mouse. Okay. The second one. Do we have animal here? Yes, we have the parrot. Very good. The third one. We have a lot of penguins, as you can see here. Penguins. Very good. The last one, here, we have a grasshopper, we have a snail, and centipede. Okay? Grasshopper, snail, and centipede. Now, you are going to listen for the second time. Okay? I want you to listen and follow. If you have any unknown words or a new vocabulary for you, just underline them, please. Because inshallah, we will explain it later after the audio script itself. Okay? So inshallah, now you are going to listen again to the audio script, but this time you are going to follow the paragraph. Okay? If you have anything or any word an unknown, just underline them. Okay? Let's start, please.
Listen. Unit 3. Laugh out loud.
A family of mice were being chased by a cat. The scared mice were cornered when the father mouse turned around and barked, "Ruff, ruff, ruff." The surprised cat ran away. When one of the young mice said, "Nice going, Dad," the father mouse replied, "You see, son, it pays to be bilingual."
A student with a parrot on his shoulder leaves a lecture theater. Another student follows him. He stops him and says, "I'm sorry to bother you, but I have to say, I was astonished by your parrot's remarkable reaction to the lecture on ancient history. He seemed frightened at the frightening parts, sad at the depressing parts, fascinated at the interesting parts, and amused at the funny parts. I could have sworn I even heard it laugh. I have to say, I was amazed. Don't you find it surprising?" "Yes," he replies. "I was very surprised. He hated the class."
A truck driver is driving a truckload of penguins to the zoo in the next town when his truck breaks down. While he's working on the truck, another truck driver stops and asks if he needs help. The first truck driver says, "If I gave you $100, would you take these penguins to the zoo?" The second trucker agrees to do it. Hours later, the truck driver is still trying to fix his truck when the second truck driver drives past with all of the penguins still in his truck. The puzzled first truck driver says, "Didn't you take them to the zoo?" The second truck driver says, "Yes, we went to the zoo, and there was money left over. So now we're going to a restaurant."
A grasshopper, a snail, and a centipede are relaxing in the grasshopper's house when they realize that they are getting hungry. They decide that one of them should go out for a pizza. The snail says, "I'd go, but I'm kind of slow." The grasshopper says, "I don't mind going, but my hopping will shake the pizza and mess it up." So they decide to send the centipede. The snail and grasshopper wait and wait. The longer they wait, the hungrier they get. Finally, when an hour passes and the centipede still hasn't returned, the irritated snail and grasshopper decide to go look for him. They get as far as the front door, where they find the centipede sitting there putting on his shoes.
Okay, now, as he said, if you don't have any if you have any difficulties or new words, just underline them, okay? Because now we are going back with the new words, trying to translating all these jokes, okay? Sometimes, as I said, translating jokes from one language to another could be impossible or sometimes difficult, okay? Let's start with the number one, okay? Now, here we have a cat, okay, and a mouse. But what is something, here we have something different today, okay? What is the difference between mouse and a cat? All of them are animals, okay, but do they communicate or do they speak the same language? No, they aren't, okay? So here, the mouse, okay, use the word rough. And what does it mean actually? Who used this word or who used this sound? Okay, the dog, of course, barked. It should be the dog when he used rough sound, okay? So how could this mouse use the same sound as a dog? Why? Because he wants the cat to be frightened or scare the cat. Okay, he wants to scare the cat. That's why he used this one. And finally, when he said, "You see, son," it pays to be bilingual. What does it mean, bilingual? Here, bilingual means to speak two languages. For example, now I am talking in English and Arabic. Okay, so I am bilingual. So I could talk two languages. Okay, so here the mouse is like the dog, okay, trying to imitate the dog by saying rough. Okay, very good. The second picture. Now we have a parrot, as you can see here. This is the parrot, okay, and this kind of birds. He likes, this one, it likes to imitate people, sometime with reaction, even sound. It gives sometime sound, okay? But what happened here? What happened? The man said what? The man, "Your parrot is remarkable. Your parrot is remarkable." Why? Okay. And of ancient, he seemed frightened. What does it mean, frightened? He seemed scared, okay? Scared at the frightening parts, sad at the depressing one, and fascinated. What does it mean, fascinated? Let's go here. Okay, fascinate means interested in something. Okay, interested in something. So he is fascinated at the interesting parts and amused. Okay, amused, it means sometimes like being happy, okay, of something. Amused at the funny parts. I could have sworn I've even heard it laugh. Okay, he, for example, had heard the parrot itself being laugh. Okay, so what happened? What is the man replied to him? "I was very surprised. Why? He hated the class." Okay, so here the parrot started to do the human reaction. It started to do the human reaction, okay? So here astonished mean amazed, okay? And fascinated is interested in, and remarkable something unusual or noticeable, something or someone can notice this one. Number 3, the penguins. We have a truckload, a lot of penguins, as you can see here, okay? And usually where you can find these penguins, at the South Pole or something with winter, okay, or snow, a lot of snow or winter part of the earth sometime, okay, the coldest part of the earth. Now, what happened? The first truckload, okay, here the first truckload, what happened to him? Yes, can anyone tell me about that? Yeah, he got something, for example, truck breaks down. So now his truck is going to be fixed, but when someone else, another truck driver, starts or passes by him, he asked him to take this penguin to the zoo, okay? But if I gave you $100, okay? If I gave you $100, as he said here, if I gave you $100, would you take these penguins to the zoo? Okay, the other truck or the second truck driver said what? Okay, agrees. He agrees to do it. Very good. Okay, so hours later, after maybe 3-4 hours, what happened? The second truck driver came back, okay, drive past with all the penguins still in the truck. Okay, why? Because he take them, okay, so the first one is puzzled because he take them to the zoo, and the second truck driver says, we went to the zoo and there was money left over, so now we are going to the restaurant. Okay, so the second truck driver here, okay, thought that the first one is asking him to take his penguin to the zoo for a visit, while he wants the second driver to take them to the zoo for exhibit. Very good. The last one, a grasshopper, okay, a snail, and finally the centipede. Here, okay, a grasshopper, he cannot take the pizza or go to bring the pizza. Why? Because his movement like jumping, okay, so he like to jump. When he jumps, so they are afraid of the pizza to, for example, getting hurt or something like that. The pizza itself, I mean, okay? What about the snail? Oh, the snail is too slow to walk, okay? So when the snail walk or the grasshopper goes to, okay, the grasshopper will jump, but the snail is slow. So they decided what? To bring the centipedes, okay, to give him the money and tell them, go and bring please the pizza, okay? So here the centipede doing what? Okay, started. Finally, when an hour passes, after 1 hour, okay, the centipede still hasn't returned, come back, I mean. The irritated, what does mean irritated? It irritated means someone annoyed or angry with someone or something, okay? Angry. So what happened? The snail and the grasshopper, the two of them, decided to go look for him. So they opened the door, okay? So they opened the door and actually they find the centipede there standing, putting on his shoes, okay? So if you look here, the centipedes, how many shoes does he have? How many? So if you could count, it will be good. Actually, the word centipede is taken from Latin, which is 2 words. The first one is called centum, which is, it means 100. Okay? Centum means 100. And the second one is pes, it means leg or feet, for example, or foot, sorry. Okay? Leg. So here we have centipede, this one, this animal or insect called centipede. is taken from two words, two Latin words, which is centum, which is does it mean 100, okay, and this here means leg, okay. Very good. Now, the grasshopper and snail were very irritated, okay, and they were very annoyed and angry because the centipede is late. Okay, what happened? So when they opened the door, they found the centipede still there, putting on his shoes, trying to wear all of these shoes. Look at how many shoes left there to be dressed. Okay, so the centipede will wait, and they will wait much longer because the centipedes need to put all the shoes on. Okay, now let's go to exercise. Guys, you have vocabulary, 6 vocabulary, new vocabulary: astonished, bilingual, fascinated, irritated, puzzled, and remarkable. I want you now to take only one word and put it in a sentence, in one sentence only. Okay, it's easy, as I said earlier, and I explained that. Okay, so let's start. Number 1, someone who can speak both Arabic and English is what? Arabic and English is what? It's bilingual, to speak 2 languages. Number 2, someone who is amazed. Amazed. Okay, what does it mean? Amazed mean astonished. Number 3, something that is incredible. Incredible. So can also be called, very good, remarkable, noticeable, or unusual, noticeable. Number 4, someone who is confused by something. Confused, which is puzzled, of course. Number 5, someone who is annoyed, as we said earlier, the snail and the grasshopper. So here, number 5, annoyed, which is, yes, irritated. And finally, someone who is very interested in, okay, which is fascinated, okay, fascinated. Finally, let's go to B. How is the word, let's start by reading the questions. How is the word bilingual used in a humorous way in the joke about the mice? You should now answer these 5 questions. How could they use bilingual? Okay. Number 2, why was the student at the lecture theater amazed by the parrot? Why? Number 3, why was the parrot owner surprised? And why is this funny? 4, how did the second truck driver misinterpret the first truck driver's request? Here it means misunderstand. Okay, misunderstand. Number 5, why shouldn't the snail and grasshopper have sent the centipede out for pizza? Now you have all the time trying to, or thinking of these 5 questions, trying to find the answer. Okay, you could stop or pause this video, then come back after reading the paragraph, then come back for the answer. Let's start. Number 1, how is the word bilingual used in the mouse? As I said earlier, bilingual, it means what? To speak both languages, or 2 languages at least. Okay, here the mouse said ruff, ruff, the sound or barking of a dog. Okay, while he is not a dog, he's a mouse. Okay, so it implies that cat and mouse are 2 different languages. Okay, number 2, why was the student at the lecture theater amazed? Why? Because the parrot gave him a human reaction. A human reaction, which is something, for example, unusual or unique for animals to imply. Okay, so showed human reactions here, as I said, to lecture, as if understood everything, which is not. Number 3, why was the parrot owner surprised? Why? Because here the owner surprised that the parrot liked the lecture, okay, so much, since he didn't like the class. Okay, so it's funny because we don't expect a parrot to attend classes. Okay, animal, they can't attend class, they can't go to listen or watch lessons. They can't have, for example, like or dislike something. Okay, so it depends on something. Number 4, how did the second truck driver misunderstand the first one? By giving what? Taking the penguins to the zoo for a visit. Okay, while he wants them to be there for or to be an exhibit. Why? They would like to use this penguin as a demonstration, for example. Okay, like a gallery or something festival they want to do. Finally, number 5, why shouldn't snail and grasshopper send the centipedes? Okay, as we said, because it take a long time. Okay, for what? For the centipedes to put shoes on his many legs. Okay, it could be 100 legs. Okay, it will take time. That's why the snail and the grasshopper, for example, as I said, okay, they shouldn't have sent the centipede out for a pizza. Okay, and actually this was the last slide. Let's go back to our objectives of today's lesson. Today we named a comedy show, we recalled a comedy show and answered questions about the text. Okay, act out a joke, okay, a joke, and write a joke about 2 people. And finally, we wrote sentences using new vocabulary, as we said earlier in this, as you said here in this exercise. Okay, so today's lesson is finished. Thank you for watching, of course, and inshallah, I will see you at the next lesson. Goodbye.